Let's dive into the urban legend that is El Charro Negro, aka the Black Horseman. This urban legend originates in Mexico, and I will say it kind of differentiates depending on who is telling the story and where they are from in Mexico, like different cities, towns, things like that. Sometimes little details will kind of change just depending on who is told. He is a horseman that roams the streets at night, kind of looking for anyone that will look his way and be tempted by one of his deals with maybe money, riches, power, things like that in exchange for your soul. He is the corrupted version of your typical Mexican charro. If you've never seen one, this is kind of what they look like. And I will say, every time I go to a party, or I used to go to like a lot of family parties, you would see a handful of these people dressed up in Mexican charro attire, and it's beautiful. And just a little bit of the way he looks, El Charro Negro is known to be a tall, mysterious man dressed in an elegant manner. He wears charro attire, which includes that beautiful wide-brimmed sombrero. He wears black boots as well with an embroidered jacket with all the dangly things on it, things like that. Very, very like flashy. You can really, like they look really, really nice. You've never seen a plain old embroidered charro jacket. They're normally very, very like out there. And he is usually found trotting along lonely, quiet roads on top of a jet black horse. And I have seen accounts where it has like really bright red eyes, that piercing red eyes that like when you look at him, kind of like Nicolas Cage from Ghost Rider, but the Mexican version of it. I will say that with my Mexican culture, his tale is kind of a cautionary tale where they kind of say like, si no haces esto o si haces esto te va a pasar esto. And the base of the tale consists of him receiving the consequences for being greedy and making deals with dark or evil spirits. La leyenda dice, the legend goes, El Charro Negro will be strolling along lonely roads waiting for anyone that will give him a moment to entice them. He will try and bribe you with riches, gold, or power to be able to tempt you out of your soul. And it's kind of said that he doesn't do this out of malice, more so out of necessity, because now he is the one that kind of accepted a deal and someone took his soul, and now he is the one that took his place. That's why he's kind of trying to be freed in a sense, from what I've seen like with the different sources that I've been looking into and like researching and stuff, where he's kind of cursed to perform this type of act until he finds someone greedier than he was that will accept, you know, selling his soul for money, power, riches, something. And then if he ever does find someone that will basically trade spots with him, he will finally be freed. If you ever see someone on top of a black horse with some red eyes looking your way, telling you to come here, walk away, look the other way, don't look back. It is believed that the infamous Charro Negro was not always the figure we recognize today. In his earlier life, he was a poor young man from a family struggling with severe financial hardships, unable to provide him with the life he yearned for. After enduring hunger and the relentless toil of labor without fair pay, he became resolute in his determination to change his circumstances. As he matured, his desire for a better life morphed into greed. He often went days without food to save a few pesos. Pesos is coins in Spanish. Scrimping on every expense and refusing to buy even a crumb of bread just to accumulate enough for a stylish hat or suit to enhance his appearance. So he didn't really care if he was eating well or eating enough. He wanted to make sure that he looked good. And I did see some other accounts where I was basically saying if you accepted just coins, monedas from him, or even accepted to like jump on the horse with him and kind of ride along, that you would be cursed as well. Just with those simple things, if you accepted those simple things, you would be cursed. And then this is one of like the horror stories that I saw, or kind of like a little ghost story, I guess, like fictional tale of El Charro Negro. And it goes, my dad once met El Charro Negro when he was a young kid. When he was small, he had the chore of picking some sort of plant to feed the animals in my grandpa's rancho. One day he was home and heard his dad coming, and he quickly remembered he did not do his chores. He knew he was going to be in a lot of trouble. My grandpa got mad at him and told him to get them the plants. It was already getting dark, but my grandpa did not care. My dad needed to do his chores, so he walked fast because the moon was not out that night. My dad had to walk far, and when he reached the crossroads, he saw a man in a black charro suit with shiny silver on his sides. His horse had silver on his saddle. My dad stopped and looked at him. Part of him wanted to see who it was and find out why he was out there at night. My dad got a bad feeling, so he slowly started to make his way back again. He kept walking and tried not to look at him since it seemed like he was being followed by him. He decided to take another quick peek and saw no one. That scared him and he ran, gathered the plants, and ran right back home. I will say it's interesting because I was talking to someone that lives in like Puebla, Mexico, and they had told me how they had actually heard like one of the past nights where they had heard like a bunch of horses just kind of trotting around in front of the area or in front of her house. And she said she had no idea why they were there. No idea. But it sounded like so many horses that you could hear the neighing, you could hear like just random horses, and she didn't know why. And I was like, did you go outside to look? And she said no. Why would I go look? Like, no. But yeah, she said there were so many horses outside trotting around. She had no idea why. It was like late at night, so the sun was down. It was just very odd. Who knows why they were there? But did she go out to investigate? No. Because I will say in our culture, if you hear something weird, odd, creepy, just strange outside of your home at night and you don't know what's going on, don't go looking. Don't go see what's going on. No, just go to sleep. Don't go investigate, because si buscas problemas los vas a encontrar. So it's better to just leave it be. At least in like our culture, if you are in Mexico, you hear some shit outside, don't go out there. It is based off of like every person's interpretation. Someone's could be slightly different. And I did see like a little Reddit thread where someone said that their abuelita had a slightly different version of El Charro Negro's interpretation, like kind of like the cautionary tale. And he basically said that if he ever appeared to you at night and he's asking you if you need anything, you kind of have to specifically tell him what you are needing, not what you want. So he gave some examples like asking for a cup of water if you're thirsty, food if you're hungry, medicine if you're sick and can save you. But asking for something born out of greed or any of the 7 sins, then it's not gonna go well for you and your soul would be his. So kind of technically don't be too greedy with what you're asking, you know. But like I said, it really depends on who is telling the story. Sometimes it depends on like where they're from in Mexico, you know. There'll be like little slight differences with like any type of urban legend or myth, you know. Like I said in the last video of like I think La Pascualita, where it just depends. It's like a phone. Or that telephone game when you were younger where like you whisper something into someone's ear and then it goes down the line and the last person is not saying the same thing that the first person said. I've been really enjoying like the urban legends, and my goal is to have or do specifically an urban legend, a myth, a haunted home, maybe like the history of a haunted home, maybe like a haunted type of person, you know what I mean? So what I'm working on right now is actually H.H. Holmes and like the murder castle and things like that. Like I'm working on that one, and that one will be next hopefully. But like everything that he's done, specifically like his mansion, when you look at it and like look into like and research like what happened in that castle is insane. Like he had trap doors, booby traps, like all these different things. He would sell bodies to like researchers for money. He did so many scams for money. He kind of was a con man back in the day. And it's just crazy everything he did. And like he got away with it for so long. And I think he only got caught because he was trying to do another scam. But like I said, I'm hoping that is my next, not urban legend, but like the next type of video that I do where I kind of deep dive more into H.H. Holmes, one of like the notorious first serial killers known in the US. But yeah, like I'm really hoping to do videos on either urban legends, myths, cryptids, possibly not necessarily serial killers, but I do really want to focus the videos more on the homes, like the haunted homes, allegedly haunted and had spirits and ghosts, kind of like just giving and telling that story around it, you know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That was El Charro Negro, and yeah, hopefully I will see you again. I'm a journey away from home.